So, good afternoon, everyone. We're coming to you from Lilleshall National Sports Centre for the Disability Championship Finals. About to have the Recurve Men Open final bronze match, between Phil Spink and Paul Brown. So Paul ranked 3rd during qualifying yesterday, and Phil was 5th. Paul had a qualification round of 5:48 out of 720, and Phil was 490 points. Again, this is set system, so 3 arrows in a set, 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and it's the first.
Yeah, we have.
Sorry.
We actually have Paul Brown shooting against Dave Phillips in the Recurve Men here, so apologies for that. Now, Dave Phillips, he ranked 1st yesterday's qualification with 594, and then Paul with 548 points. So both these archers are quite experienced in this format. Let's see where they start the match. So nice opening shot there from Paul. It's nice and strong, and he got a 9, so he'll be happy with that. Dave's arrow perfectly central of the target, but just a little bit low, and he moves his sight, so again, the conditions during this match now, they're quite settled in the wind. It's just the heat and the sunlight that some of the archers might find a little bit difficult to get used to on this first end after coming up from the practice field that's inside, and a bit cold and dull in there. So Paul gets 8 points with his last arrow. Could be.
Don't know because of the shadow.
So quite close in this opening set between the two archers.
So Paul has 22, possibly 23 points, and Dave has 23, possibly 24 points. So apologies for the mix-up later. Dave Phillips actually ranked number 1 during qualifying, and Paul was number 3. Okay, so the Paul's arrow was upgraded and Dave's not, so tied set, 1 point each. It's a maximum of 5 sets, and if the archers are tied at 5 all after the sets, then we'll go to a shoot-off. So, as it's tied, Paul will shoot first. And that's a good first arrow into the gold. Seemed a little jerky on the execution.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a long hold there for Dave, so just finding his rhythm. And Paul just creeping a little bit low there, so just clicked his sight a little bit, so he's happy with where they're going. Went a little bit wide. Dave did swing his bow on the execution there, so he knew it was a bit of a struggling shot. That wind is picking up a little bit from the flags that are around the guys, so again, it could be a case of feeling the wind back at the shooting line, but it not actually being affecting the arrows, so he might have adjusted himself rather than the actual effect on the arrow. He's made a good adjustment there to get back closer to the middle.
So Paul takes that set 25 points to 22 and moves into a 3-1 lead. Plenty of time left. This is the beauty of the set system, that you can shoot a loose arrow and it only affects one set rather than the cumulative score.
Yeah.
I know some archers actually prefer cumulative score.
Yeah, sometimes you can actually get matches where your cumulative score would have resulted in a different outcome. It doesn't happen so often. The majority of matches do follow the sets. If it was a cumulative, the same archer would have still won. But it does happen. Hopefully we'll have a good match here that goes to a shoot-off, because we've not seen that yet today.
So Dave's behind in the match, so he will get the opportunity to shoot first in this set. Dave was in Italy with us a few weeks ago. Paul's execution just seems a little smoother at this moment.
That looked a really nice shot from Dave, so let's see if he makes an adjustment for his last arrow. Paul's has just dropped low there into the blue, so there's an opportunity here for Dave to make the set up. 8 points, so
22 points for the set for Dave. And a 9. 24 points to Paul, which puts him into a 5-1 lead. Means Dave has to win the next 2 sets to take this match to shoot off.
Yep.
So Paul's in a very strong position at the moment.
You can see both archers now having a little discussion with the coaches, and this is where you can be in a position of just staying and relaxing, or just putting that pressure on the archer a little bit, ramping them up to get those set points back. So this conversation that they're having whilst the arrows are getting collected could be crucial in whether Paul continues holding the gold and Dave getting into the gold and taking some set points back.
So the judge has just indicated that Dave will be shooting first in the 4th set. And he needs to get off to a good start to try and put Paul under some pressure. That's a good first arrow, still out on the right. Paul answers with a 9.
Well, that's good from Dave. It's just out of the 10, so that should make him be happy. Paul needs to keep the gold still.
Let's open the door for Dave here.
So Dave just needs to be confident now. In his last shot, he was just out of the 10. So he just needs to repeat that.
8.
So there's 25 points for Dave.
Paul needs a 10 to tie this set and take the match. So the Dave takes that set and moves to 3 set points. So that's some of the job done to take this to shoot off.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all you do in the sets, is you get the one set and then you just focus on the next one. You're not actually aware of the total set scores. You're just after the next 2 points. You after keeping the match alive, and in this case Dave does need to get those 2 set point win the set to take it to a shoot off.
It's you have to be able to close out a match as well for Paul. You know, can't rest on the fact that you've got 5 set points in the bag.
Again, it would appear on target 1 shooting first.
So, 5th and final set. Dave needs to win this set. The draw is good enough for Paul.
That's not really what you want to be doing, but let's see if that gets to Paul or not. If both archers have dropped arrows into the blue.
And Paul making an adjustment to his sight at this moment.
Dave's straight back in the middle, so the pressure's really on here. It's more on Paul than Dave. All Dave's got to do is shoot. Paul knows that he can win this set. That's a good response, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So Paul with a 3-point lead at this moment in time. There's a couple of starred arrows on Dave, so 23, possibly 25. But I think Paul has done enough there. He's got 26 points on the board for that set, which gives him the win. So that's the end of the bronze medal match. We'll be looking forward to the gold medal match shortly.